If you sit down and pick a normal, ordinary object, like a chair in the room, any chair will do, and just look at it, something strange begins to happen. After a few minutes of steady observation, the object starts to feel heavy with a presence you didn't notice before. It is almost as if the chair is staring back at you. This uncanny sensation is the crack in the door of your reality. You've spent your whole life assuming you are the one doing the looking, and the chair is just a piece of dead matter sitting out there. But if we look closer, we find a mystery that doesn't just dismantle the chair, it dismantles the very you that is looking at it. By the end of this experiment, you will see that the chair doesn't exist the way you think it does, and that realization is your ultimate escape from suffering. We're all raised believing we're in charge, looking out from behind our faces, and everything else just sits out there. There is a clear boundary, a fence between the observer and the observed. We believe the chair is a solid, independent thing that would happily continue to be a chair even if every living being in the universe vanished. This essay is an invitation to stop believing that manual and start looking at the raw data of your own experience. Consider how the chair actually enters your world. Does it announce itself? Does it have a ping that it sends out into the void? No. The chair only acquires its chairness the moment your awareness meets it. Think of the chair like the light inside your refrigerator. When you are standing in the kitchen, you could assume that light is always burning away behind the closed door. But the truth is, the light only springs into existence the moment you pull the handle. The chair is exactly like that. It only acquires its chairness, its color, its shape, its very presence, the moment the door of your awareness opens toward it. The chair cannot announce itself or force you to see it. It has no independent power to show up in your reality without your attention. If you remove the chair from the room, you are still here. Your awareness, your capacity to know, and your sense of existing are completely untouched. But if you could somehow withdraw your aware presence, the chair and the entire room vanish instantly. You are the only independent constant in this scene. The chair is a guest that only arrives when you do. Now look at the chair again. But this time, try to strip it naked. Stop using the word chair. Drop the labels like wood, legs, furniture, or comfort. Forget its history, where you bought it, or how much it cost. What is left when you refuse to interpret it? You are left with a raw, vibrating mystery. As you search for the boundary between the seeing and the seen, you'll find it's missing. Where does your seeing end and the wood begin? You can't find a border. The sensation that the chair is staring back occurs because there is no distance between you. It is awareness looking at awareness. You might protest, but the chair is still there when I close my eyes. Is it? When you close your eyes, you are looking at a mental rendering, a high-definition memory. You are still the one doing the rendering. It's like a video game engine that only draws the room when the player is looking at it. The rest of the time, it's just potential code. But other people see it too, you might say. Think of a heavy rain that leaves 100 puddles on the ground. Each puddle contains a bright, round moon. It looks like there are 100 moons. But you know there is only one moon in the sky being reflected by 100 different patches of water. Our individual minds are like those puddles, temporary and separate. But the light of the chair we all see is just the single moon of awareness reflecting off the surface of our shared experience. The consistency of the chair across observers doesn't prove it exists outside of awareness. It means that consciousness is simply looking through many different windows at once. This leads us to a realization that might feel like the floor is dropping out from under you. The chair as an independent, out-there object cannot be found. But if the chair is not a solid thing on its own, then the person looking at it isn't what you think either. Imagine you are wearing a virtual reality headset. Inside the game, there is a chair and there is a player, your digital hands and body. When you take the headset off, where did the chair go? It vanished. But where did the player go? That version of you vanished too. Neither had a life of their own outside the simulation. This is what it means to say they are ghosts. They are temporary roles played by your awareness. The out-there chair cannot be found, and the in-here pilot cannot be found either. There were never two separate things to begin with. There was only your vast, naked presence acting out both parts. The staring back mystery is resolved because it is actually you looking into a mirror. We actually experience this vanishing of the self all the time, most commonly with our phones. You've likely had that moment where you were so absorbed in a video or a text that you completely forgot you were holding a physical device. You became the story on the screen. The me vanished. However, the phone is a dangerous place to practice this. It's like a digital whirlpool that sucks you into a narrative, making you lose your awareness of being aware. The chair, by contrast, is the perfect training ground. It is boring. It has no story to tell. Because it's neutral, it allows you to stay present while the boundaries dissolve. By practicing with the chair, you are training a specific muscle, the ability to see before you label. You are learning to recognize that your mind is a translation software that is constantly turning raw energy into things. You are learning to notice the absence of a separate sufferer. This is where the experiment becomes your get out of suffering free card. Think of a recent emotional trigger. Perhaps someone said something that hurt you. Usually the process goes like this. Something happens. A sensation appears in the body. The mind labels it as insult or failure, and then a threatened identity forms around it. You become the victim in the story. But if you apply the chair experiment, you look at the suffering the same way you looked at the chair. Strip away the labels. Drop the words betrayal or sadness. Look at the raw sensation in your chest or throat. Without the story, it is just a pattern of energy appearing in your awareness. Your get out of suffering free card is conscious attention. It frees you from the automatic reflex of becoming the character in your thoughts. Just as the chair has no internal battery to exist without your focus, your suffering has no independent power to hurt you if you see it as just another appearance in your vast, naked presence. The practice doesn't deny the pain, but it stops the construction of a sufferer who has to carry it. Let's return back to the chair. It sits there, quiet and unmoving. Does it still feel like it's staring back? Perhaps now you understand why. It isn't a piece of furniture looking at a person. It is life looking at life. The independent chair was an illusion, and so was the separate, burdened you that sat in it. When you realize that the world isn't happening to you, but within you, the stare of the universe is no longer uncanny. It is a homecoming. If you would like further support in stabilizing in the sense of pure being, you can join our online retreat. It combines teachings and guided meditations that lead you through 11 days, helping you naturally build the habit of meditating on a regular basis. And if you prefer to have a personal meditation at hand, we offer that as well. You can find all the information in the description box. This channel is made possible by the support of this community. Thank you to everyone. A huge shout out to our Patreon and YouTube members.